Good morning! I'm Sam McDonough, IFBB Bikini Pro, and today we're going to preview the One Bro Pro show happening this weekend and the Huanji Pro happening this weekend. So, let's get into it. Let's start with One Bro Pro. So, One Bro Pro, smaller show, 7 people, but I still think this is going to be a really interesting one. I said in my video yesterday that I wish Allison Testu were on this list. She said she's coming back soon, but she's not on this list. Would she win in this lineup? I'm not sure. Anna Setlak, I think, will be the biggest competition, but it would have been so interesting. Okay, so let's get into these people. So let's start with Lorena. So Lorena caught my eye at the Tampa Pro last year when she placed 6th. She has placed better than that. She placed 4th at the Tahoe show. And at the Tahoe show, there were like, I think she beat one Olympian and no one else had been to the Olympia from that show. Let's look into it. Okay, yeah. None of these people, I think, have been to the Olympia before. Not that that means too much. Like, a lot of people, like, she beat Yume, who ended up qualifying, like, a couple weeks ago. But let's look at Lorena first. So, let's start with this, I already have Tahoe up, so let's look at Tahoe. At this show, tan was a little bit dark. Tan was also an issue for me at the Tampa Pro, so we'll look at that. But here she is in her back pose. Great fullness, like popping through her skin. She got like just tiny enough that when she filled out, she like was really popping. So you can really see at the show why she got 4th place. This is like the kind of conditioning, and conditioning is relative to the person. So like this is what they want the conditioning to look like, but how lean someone has to get to fill out and achieve this position conditioning is different for everyone. Is that contradictory? I don't know. What I mean is that it looks like she got as full as she could and she's like bursting out of her skin, but she hasn't like spilled, so she's not looking like soft. So she looks like shrink wrapped, and like she looks like bubble wrap. So like, you know how you get it. If you like pop bubble wrap, makes a big popping sound. Like she looks like bubble wrapped. So love this look. Very good. The things that I would like to adjust on Lorena, and unfortunately there wasn't like a full front pose at this show in their individuals. I don't know why Tahoe didn't have like stellar individual photos, but let's look at her in the lineup. Let's see if we can see her in the lineup. Is that her? Okay, here she is. So, yeah, this kind of grainy, so we can't totally tell, but really great fullness and really great shape. Let's look at her when she competed like a week or so later at the at Tampa. And we're looking at these because this is where she placed the best. So she got 6th at this show and 4th at Tahoe. So looking at her front pose, she didn't achieve the same conditioning that we saw. Okay, so this was a week before Tahoe. It's just out of order on... Is it out of order? Oh, no, it's not out of order. Okay, whatever. She was doing better earlier in the year than she did later in the year. So the thing missing here, she looked a little bit... not as poppy, and the tan didn't really have the same glow, so I would like her to achieve the same glow that she did at the Tahoe show, but not as dark of a tan when she competes at this One Bro Pro show. But she has really crazy proportions. She just needs a little more size on these glutes here. I would probably straighten this arm, not have it pointing out. It kind of throws off the shape in this front pose. Drop the hand to the hip, because that also is throwing off the shape a little bit. Maybe she isn't even in like her full pose there. So she's looking straight. So yeah, this is more her full pose. Yeah, so I would say it just looks like she has all the parts there. It's just refining from where she's at. So like a little more glute. She could probably angle her toe more like diagonally instead of, it's a little diagonal, but it's more horizontal than it is diagonal. And that would give better shape to this quad and hamstring here. It would round out the hamstring more. So yeah, just some posing tweaks for Lorena is what I'd like to see. And the hair tends to look a little bit messy. I would like to see that smoothed out. That's what's coming to mind, but I know that's not the word I'm looking for. Let's look at her most recent show. And as far as suit color, I would probably do the blue that she wore at Tahoe. I don't love this because it looks like polka dotted. Yeah, I don't love this suit. I would not do the pink, and it's too close to her tan, and I don't love that the lip matches. I don't mind this lip on her. I don't think it's the best, but I don't mind it, but it's too much with this suit. So I would not do this suit again. And it looks like as the year went on, she just started to fill out kind of weird. Her waist looks a little bit thicker here than it did at her other shows where she placed higher. So her physique just looks a little bit tired. She has a lot more like detail in the arm here, tanning issues again. So I would really focus this season on like figuring out the tan because it looks like we consistently have some issues with the tan. So this is the second to most recent show she did. And again, all the parts are there, but it's not cohesive yet. So like I go straight to this arm and straight to the upper glute being a little bit flat and the hair and the lip. So really just refining those like presentation things, which can happen in 10 minutes. And then the longer game, which she's had since October, so like 5 months, which is not that long, is refining the physique itself. So like the upper body is really developed, but we don't have the matching development in the lower body. And I don't think getting tighter would help her necessarily. It just looks like there's an imbalance in the muscularity. It looks like she probably also was a little bit worn out. So like even if she did get tighter, she wouldn't achieve that same like bubble wrap look that she did at the Tahoe show where she placed fourth. So those are my main things. I don't mind green on her. I love green, as you know. But I don't know that this suit itself is the best move. We'll look at the front pose again. But yeah, glutes look good. They just don't look like they're bursting out of the skin. So it looks like her physique is a little tired. Run a brush through her hair. I prefer when she does. My skin is so dry, you guys. I got my first facial ever the other day and it was amazing, and she did like an exfoliating thing, but now I've had like dead skin sloughing off, and she was like, your skin is congested. And I was like, rude, girl, but she's right. So whatever that means, I don't know. I trust her. I'm not an expert on skin. So then I started using my ultra moisturizing moisturizer yesterday, and it's like a little bit better, but oh my God, is it tight and itchy or what? Okay. Where was I? Okay, yeah, she does have the same pop. Her physique looks a little bit tired. Let's look at what she looked like at her first show of the year. Now, is that the same green suit? Because I don't really mind that suit. Okay, yeah, it must be the same green suit. I don't love the blue sparkle on it. I don't love the blue sparkle. So yeah, just a more streamlined suit is what I would like. And yeah, the core looks a little bit like blown out. So yeah, just come out fresh, a little more size in the glutes, and then if she can get the same conditioning that she did at the Tahoe show, I think she could be really good. And maybe, I mean, I would not count her out of winning if she has made the necessary improvements. Let's see. Let me look her up on Instagram. Okay, here she these cracks me up. Okay, here she is. Do we have any recent photos? Not really. Let's check her story. Wow, that really cracks me up when it's just a close-up of your butt. Okay. So we're looking through her stories now. Now you're just kind of with me on my daily routine. Okay, it's a burger. So I don't think this gives us any insight into what she's looking like now, but wishing her the best of luck. Okay, because she has the other things like balance. I hate to say, but it's part of it. She's pretty. So yeah, more streamlined makeup, like what Laura Lee would do for her makeup. I know Laura Lee has different features, like darker hair and stuff, but like whose makeup do I love usually? Ashlyn Little, her makeup, always looks good. It's like the exact amount of, let's look her up. It's never like too dark, like she doesn't do the pink eye or anything like that. It's like a neutral and this little pinky lip. Yeah, that is what I would want to see on Lorena. Okay, and then going into Noemi. So we talked about Noemi before a couple weeks ago, so I've already like assessed her physique. So you can look at whatever my FIBO preview was, or my FIBO wrap up. Or no, I didn't talk about her in that, but I've talked about Noemi before in my preview. So at this show that she just did, she placed 6th. And what do I think was missing since I didn't go over her? We need more glute. I don't know if she's like tucking her pelvis and that's bringing like this, oh my God, my nose, you guys. And that's bringing her, it's giving this weird folding. Not weird. I don't mean to say that, but like, I don't know. It almost looks like, I'm not saying this happened, but it looks like an implant almost. I don't think it is, but the way it's sitting, I think it's just because it like rounds upwards. So I think she might be tucking her pelvis and then it's like flattening her glute or something, but something in this front pose on her lower body is just not really working for me. If she arches her low back, I think it would pop her glute better. But yeah, that is distracting. So it looks like out of place. It looks like it's just flat. And I'm seeing a lot of detail in this hamstring here. So yeah, I would try like angling the toe like I just suggested with someone else and Lorena, and then like that would give us better sweep to the hamstring and shape to the quad and probably shape to the glute. So yeah, I would like to see that. And then the suit, I think I just saw that yeah, the suit needs to be flush to the skin. So we're seeing under boob there. And the cups are really wide. That might be something she needs to do, like, because of, like, the setup of her chest. But, if she could, like, bring them in tighter, then I think that would help her. She looks really wide on top and then the narrow on the bottom. So, yeah, that's what I would do. I would play with this pose, angle the toe, arch the low back, and see if that helps. She also has like more conditioning up top than she does on the bottom. Like it looks kind of smooth on the bottom in this area, but like she has a lot of pop and definition in her arms here. So I'd like to see that change in her posing and see what happens. And I'm not saying she has an implant, by the way. I'm just saying like the way she's posing makes her glute sit weird. Okay, and then looking at her back pose, I would relax the arms a little bit. She already is kind of like in her front pose looks really wide up top and narrow on bottom. So I would straighten these arms. I don't want to see her hands. So straighten the arms so they're like this. And we see like, I was like trying to squint. I'm like this much, this much of the background there I would like to see. So like, I guess you know, you can't see where my finger is, but I'm like, instead of you seeing, you know, this much of my face, I want to see like this much, and then think of that as like the window and the elbow here. So yeah, that's what I would like. And then this T back is not really working for her. It makes the glutes look harsh. It's just not a flattering cut. So I'd like to see a rounded cut, and maybe she could even. Okay, what did I say last time? Like, did I tell her to arch less, and now she is arching less? I'm like, you should arch more. So let's see what she looked like at the Orlando show and see if I am tripping over my own words. Okay, she's arching more there, and I think I did say I wanted her to arch less. So, if you watched my video, Noemi, then thanks. I appreciate you taking my feedback. And do I want her to arch more again? Maybe slightly, but first I'd like to see the arms straighter and then the bottom be a better, like more flattering cut. And then as far as here in the legs, yeah, it ties in well, but it's just really hard in this hamstring. Even though we don't see hamstring cords, I see like a really hard hamstring pop here. I want to see a softer hamstring pop, and then same thing I said in my other video where I like previewed her, more legs in general. So the legs I think are just underdeveloped, and they need to come up to match her upper body and glutes, because her glutes are like a lot significantly bigger than her legs. I need to see more balance. So like, of course your glutes are going to be more dominant than your legs, like in this division, but you still want them to be like in balance with each other. So, I mean, you want them to be a tiny bit bigger, but not significantly bigger than the legs to where it's like overpowering them this much. Like you want them to have a soft taper into the leg. Her conditioning, I think her conditioning was, it's hard to say what I think about her conditioning when I think she needs to bring her legs up a bit. I think her conditioning is probably where it needed to be to like, because if she were less conditioned, then in this front pose, her glute would look even a little bit like softer in this area. So, and she was like, yeah, and if she were tighter, we would see even more hardness in the hamstring there. So I think it's just a matter of bringing up the legs to match the rest of the physique. And then the blue suit, I think is pretty. I also don't mind the pink suit. It's not like my favorite stone combination on the pink suit because it's the same thing, like it's kind of polka dotty. So yeah, I would like to see her wear like a different suit. Toxic is what I would wear. Okay, and then Charlotte. So Charlotte, I listened to Behind the Stage TV. I think that's what it is, backstage. Let me just tell you. Well, okay, I'm not gonna. Oh, I can pause it. Okay, it's beyond the stage TV. So Charlotte was on there and she said that the judges' feedback was that her glutes need to be a little bit tighter. So I think Charlotte could win this show. I think it'll be tough against Anna, but I think she could win this show if she brings a look closer to Taiwan 2024. I think this was just a better bikini look. Maybe she could be a little bit softer than this, but honestly, I'd be curious to see what she brings. Like if she brought this, how she would do, because Anna typically brings like a very similar look, so they'd be very comparable there. And I think Anna is also pretty tall. So yeah, I have the same opinion that I think she needs to have a bigger suit top, more coverage, tighter in the lower abs, tighter in the glutes, and more glute, and then more coverage on this bikini, because, or maybe if she were tighter, that coverage would be fine. So yeah, just getting tighter, and then maybe the coverage is fine, and then bringing up her rear delts a bit because they go directly into the triceps. So I think she could win, but yeah, I think it's going to be between her and Anna. Okay, and then we have Luca, who I've talked about a million times. So she ended up placing 5th at the FIBO show. And what do I think about that? Oh, we already talked about that. So I think the reason is because, like, as placings went down, people just, like, didn't have as much muscle, and they didn't have the same balance in their muscle across their entire physique as the top 2 people did. So for her, I think it's going to be a matter of just bringing up those glutes, like I have been saying, and relaxing this arm. So the same things that I said last time. Okay. And then we also have Nora Newman competing. So she has placed 7th before. She has placed 7th at FIBO, which I had not talked about, and she just went pro in 2023. So what do I think about her? Where do I think she'll place? So I haven't looked at her pictures yet. Let's look at her front pose. Okay, so here she is in her front pose. I think suit top needs to have more coverage. I think she needs more glute from the front. Shoulders look like they're where they need to be, and she shouldn't get them any bigger until she gets her glutes up in her front pose, probably. But in her back pose, her glutes look really good, and it looks like she could even have a little more rear delt. So I would like to see her straighten her arms a bit, get the hair off her shoulders. Yeah. She might be able to pull the suit bottoms down a little bit in the back, so it's more of like a heart shape across the glutes. She just has a shorter torso, so it looks like a lot of legs, but I think if she pulled the suit bottom down a little bit, then, or at least like had more scrunch in this upper like V part here, so it creates more of a V. But yeah, with her, I think it's going to be a matter of just streamlining her muscle a little bit, and her makeup could be more glam, suit top, more coverage, relax the arm a little bit. It looks a little bit forced, and it looks like her shoulder is almost coming up. This one looks like it's lower than this one, so I would like her to level her shoulders, because it's like taking away from her neck, and that's something that you have to be like, that is something that people can't change in bikini, but like if you have a shorter neck, it is a little bit of a disadvantage, because it can make you look way more muscular up top, and especially if you're already more muscular up top, then it accentuates how muscular you are up top, because there's not like that, you know, guiding of the eye up from like having a longer neck. So I think having a longer neck in bikini is it's an advantage. Could she, it's looking like in the front pose, even though she has a lot of glute in the back, her front pose, her waist is this similar width to her hips. So maybe if she angled her hips away a little bit, I usually don't advise that, but if she angled it away a little bit, I wonder if we'd get a more extreme like proportion with her waist getting tighter and then like going out into her hips. So when I say away, I mean I want to see less of the suit bottom. So this hip should come more this way towards the judges, so we see less of this front suit bottom, and maybe we'd get better glute pop and a smaller waist, so just a better ratio. And then it looks like we can see the differentiation between the hair extensions and the natural hair, so just like streamlining that so it's all a little more cohesive. Okay, and then Lisa. Oh, Lisa's in this show. I forgot. I pulled these up yesterday, so I forgot. Okay. I think it's going to be between Lisa and Anna, and then Charlotte coming in third. Unless Charlotte brings a look like she did to Taiwan Pro 2024. Is that possible after just 2 weeks away? I hope so. It would be great to see Charlotte get qualified. But I don't see her beating either of those people with the look she has brought to Taiwan. And that's no shade. Obviously, she got second. But yeah, I think against those two, they have very, like, she brought a much softer look to Taiwan this year. So, and these two usually come in harder. So she would need to be more comparable or just like really blow everyone out of the water. So yeah. Yeah. Okay, what do I think about Lisa? So Lisa, I already went over her physique the other day, so I don't have much to say. I mean, she could soften up a little bit, and then she'd be a little more comparable to Charlotte. So that's kind of how I'm envisioning it. Like people coming in with the conditioning, they need to fit the standard the most, and then how do those people look next to each other? If two people usually come in really hard and the other person is coming like came in a little soft 2 weeks ago, yeah, it's tough. I feel like Charlotte also said she was like having trouble digesting food or something. I'm not sure. Okay, so we aren't going to look at these pictures because they're off center, but we will look at her at the Olympia. So here is Anna. Anna has a really great balance from top to bottom. This picture is also not centered, so I'm not going to look at that one. Okay, is Romania? Oh no, this is just Muscle Pro. Okay, yeah, this is better angle. So really great balance between top and bottom, really full shoulders, needs to bring up her upper glute a little bit, I think, to match. Conditioning looks really good. I don't love how much this knee is like caving in at the judges. You can certainly aim it at the judges, but I think it's like kind of dumping forward. So I would be a little less extreme with how much that knee comes forward. And I think that would enhance her pose, especially if it were like more like this instead of like this, like that slope. So yeah, really great conditioning, always does well. What kind of suit would I like to see her wear? I don't love this dark green. It looks a little bit harsh. But green, I'm all about. And then in her back pose, so she has those quads that like really get full towards the bottom. So she doesn't have as much of that like tapering in. And she's a little bit hard in these hamstrings usually. So I would like her to come in a little bit softer there, still get this same conditioning. So this conditioning was perfect. And then spread her lats a little bit. She might, because it looks like she's pinching. So straighten the arms a little bit. And then maybe she could also open the chest a little, but she might be doing this because she has more narrow hips, so she's trying to match the width up top, in which case that's not a bad move. But I would like to see the arms straightened a little bit and more relaxed, and then you would still have the same width top and bottom, but it wouldn't look as forced. And then the hair, I think this hair color is a little bit too bright and harsh for stage. Having a jet black and having like an icy blonde, both read as too much on stage, in my opinion. Like an inky black hair, I've done it on stage, it does not look good, in my opinion. Like it just looks a little bit too harsh with everything else going on, because you have like the dark tan, you have the suit popping, you have like the makeup, and the hair, if it like leans inky, that can be a little bit too much on stage, like a little bit too heavy, like when Kerrigan Pike had like inky black hair on stage. I'll show you. And then when you have this white hair, then that kind of like reflects too much and it's distracting against everything else. Like it just, same reason you wouldn't have a white suit or something. Like it's just too distracting and then reflects too much light. So I'll show you, and I am a Kerrigan fan, by the way, but just so you like know what I'm talking about, unless she was going by a different last name at that show. No, she wasn't. Okay, so let's look at, it was 2023, and I think it was Southern Muscle. You can see it has like a little bit of brown to it, but this, was it this show? Let's look at 2022. I think it was like maybe her, yes, this was a little bit too harsh in my opinion. So an inky black hair and like an icy white hair, I think both read as a little bit too either heavy on stage or too bright and distracting on stage. Just like something with more natural tone to it, not like this bluish tone or like that ashy tone from a white hair. Okay. And then, I guess that's everyone. Wow, small show. Okay, well, I guess I'll just give my prediction for like 1 through 7. So, okay. If Lorena comes in right, she's my wild card. Because she could come in with really good conditioning, similar to like how Lisa and Anna are always bursting out of their skin with conditioning. I think Luca will for sure be in top 5. So I think it's going to go. It's hard. Okay, Lorena will probably beat Luca because she has a more complete physique. Um, but Luca always comes in on point with her hair and makeup. Like her presentation is always really good. So between the two, unless Lorena has like comes in with a Tahoe type of look, then I think Luca could beat her. But let's say Lorena comes in at her best. Her physique has rested. It's been since October, I think. So I'm gonna guess Anna. Um, Charlotte would probably be a happy medium between Anna and Lisa if they come in with their normal hardness and Charlotte comes in a little harder. So I think it could even be like Anna, Charlotte, Lisa, and then so that's 3, and then Lorena, Luca, that's 5, and then Noemi, Nora. It's between them for 6 and 7. I'm gonna say it would just I would be kind of surprised if Noemi got 7th, but I think Nora, yeah, I think Noemi is a little more complete with everything, stage presence and physique, even though there are some holes. I think she's a little more complete than Nora, but I do think Nora, not that it's all about glutes, but Nora's glutes are more in proportion with her legs than Noemi, so that is more balance for me. But her posing things could help her balance in her front. So that's tough. I don't know. Okay, I'll just give my guess. This is not high stakes. I need to relax. Okay, I'm just gonna say probably Noemi and Nora. Probably not that judges do go off of recognition, but like you do have your subconscious will bleed into your thoughts, and people are probably more familiar with Noemi than Nora, and I don't know what Nora's like stage presence looks like, so I'm gonna guess that. That's gonna be my guess. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let's look at the Huanji show. So I'm not familiar with a lot of these competitors. Some of them we've talked about recently, so I narrowed it down to the people who have placed like top 7, top 5. So Josephine, we've talked about her a few times already. There's some holes in her physique. You can watch my other videos I did on the Huanji China Pro 2 and the Vietnam show, so you can look at those for my opinion on what she needs to fix. But it's just some balance things, and me thinking she needs time off stage to get the muscle needed, so she doesn't have to pose as hard to showcase her. So she doesn't have to pose as hard to like look like she has a certain physique. But she could be in top 7 for sure. Okay, this Mingru, I think she will probably win this show. So she's placed 2nd, missing her Olympic qualification 3 times by 1 spot and another time by 2 spots. I thought she had competed this year already. Had she not? NPC. Maybe I have like an out-of-date list. Has she not? Okay, she hasn't competed since last year. I'm like, okay. Like I'm mad at myself or something. Okay, I think she has a beautiful look. Let's look at her in her front pose here. Okay, here she is. So, okay, she's not fully posed, but tan, hair, makeup, all are perfect. I think like if she brings that, she's in a really good position, presentation wise. I think the thing that she needs is maybe to be like, this is really beautiful. Like she looks like a statue, like carved out of marble. Like look how smooth her skin looks, and she has like these little veins. Looks like they're carved out of marble. Yeah, the suit I think is really pretty. I like that color a lot. I don't love when you can see the straps in the front. Like I want the illusion of them going all the way behind the neck. So that's something I don't like, just in general. But that's not really her fault. That's a suit thing. And then looking at her back pose here. Oh, and I talked about the Vietnam show, so you can find a video on the Vietnam show. More upper outer glute and more fullness in the shoulders here. So I think it's just a little more muscle, but I think she still could win this show with what she brings in now, if she comes in with like perfect conditioning and all that kind of stuff. But I think what she's missing is more upper outer glute. I don't know who else is on this list, so maybe I will change my mind about who will win, but I think she's the front runner. Okay, and then we have talked about this athlete before. I've said a little more glute. Yeah, a little more glute, and then probably some more ab definition. It looks a little bit soft here, which I'm sure it's not, but a like kiss of conditioning across her abs, I think would pull her physique together. She has detail everywhere else, but we aren't seeing it as much in the abs. Okay, and then in her back pose, her more upper outer glute too, but I think this conditioning is really good. This conditioning is spot on. Just needs a little more size. And then we have, oh, okay. This person looks really good. So this person I think has great shape but needs more upper body, so more shoulders specifically, but I think the shape like here down is really good. Her quads might be a little overpowering, but I think if she brings up her upper body then she could win this show. She hasn't competed since August last year, so I think so far I'm gonna cluster them. I think it's gonna be between her and Mengru and Lillian. Those are my two guesses right now. But I still have to look at the other people I pulled up. Oh, okay. Wenjin. Okay, she has made it to the Olympia before. Here's how she looked at the Olympia. Yeah, this is a really good look. Really athletic looking. Great hourglass shape. Looks effortless in this pose. Hair, makeup, suit, all beautiful. Tan looks perfect. Could maybe have angle the hips more away from the judges, so like see less of the suit bottom like we talked about with someone at the other show, so I could see like more glute profile and mainly more glute profile. She looks wider she looks bottom heavy in this pose because we aren't seeing as much lat, like we're missing this area, and then she looks wider on the bottom. She's so forward facing with her abs and her lower body, so I would like to see her a little more profile in the hips, and that would give her more of that traditional like S curve that we see in competitors. Oh, but maybe now this isn't loading. Okay. So, yeah, more of this angle, and she could even do a little bit more, but I suspect she just needs a little more glute, because S-curve is better here than it was in her initial, like, step on stage. And then in her back pose, oh, this is really good. Really full, really full. Maybe could have a little more upper body. This picture's a little blurry, but like lower body looks spot on. Like this is the kind of taper that I'd want to see into the legs. Maybe there's a little too much quad. So maybe minimize the quads a little bit by angling the toes slightly forward. But that's probably the only change I would make to the pose itself. Okay, so now I think it's those three. I think it's those three we should look out for. Okay, and then we talked about Heather. Okay, and then, here's Wenjin again. I pulled her up twice. Did I pull her up twice? Yes, I did. Oh, okay, whatever. Because I opened the Olympia thing. Okay, so we already talked about her. And then, Langsha. So here is Langsha at is this RGV? This is, yeah, RGV. Okay, let's look at our most recent one. So she placed 5th at RGV, so let's just look at this one. In her front pose, what do I think? Yeah, really great stage presence. She looks thrilled to be on stage. I love that. I think the suit could have more coverage, her boobs like falling out of the side of it, and if she brought it in like the middle, then she could be at risk of like a nip slip. I would still prefer pulling it in rather than having it hang out of the side. So more coverage on this top and have it like be flush to the skin. It looks like it's like rounding up, so I want it to be like more straight across. And in this pose, relaxing this shoulder a little bit, I think, because it's like popping forward a little bit too much. And then I love when people have this in their quad, that like big roundness. I think that's just pretty. I think she could angle her knee a little bit more at the judges, not much, but like a tiny bit, and then more upper outer glute in this front pose. Is she sitting into her hip? Because sometimes that makes it flatten at the top. Maybe. Hair and makeup look really good. Let's look at her back pose. Bending over too much. So that's something you want to be aware of when you are on stage. You want to have an hourglass shape the entire time. So look at that. And let's compare her to, let's pull up her back pose really quick. But I'm going to, keep that in mind. And we're going to look at it again. In her back pose, a little more glue in general. Not just upper outer, but like fullness, like in projection at the judging table is what I think. So yeah, more glue. You can see it gets a little bit flat right here. and straighten the arms a little bit. She'll still get some pop in her rear delts if she straightens her arms a little bit, but I think they're out a little bit too far. That might just be personal preference, but I think it would look a little more relaxed if she did it the other way. This suit color, it's reading almost as orange, so I probably would not wear that suit again. It could just be the lighting at that show. Let's see how it is at this show. Yeah, I've said this before, especially with like the light red velvet, when it reflects like this, it kind of blends a lot with the tan. So I probably would not wear the velvet red. She wore it again here, and it's that same kind of polka dotty thing, like the dark crystals, and then we see like the trim, like the edge of the suit doesn't have stones on it, so we like see blank suit. I don't love that. Yeah. Okay, has she ever worn another suit color? Okay, purple. I prefer this color. I think this color is much better. So yeah, if she could wear like that suit again, and wow, yeah, she looks really good. This is going to be a really tough show because everyone's like, if you look at it, like you zoom out and you look at all the competitors together, their tans always look good. Their conditioning always looks really good. Hair and makeup looks really good on all of them. They all have really good stage presence. So this show is going to be tough. A lot of these people look very comparable in terms of the level of bubbliness that they bring to stage. I haven't seen anyone that I've said in this like top 4 that I think need to, that I think are coming in too hard or something. Like those top people I have looked at are pretty evenly matched. And then I said I would look at Yume. So we're going to look at Yume. Okay, so here is Yume, and look at her transition compared to the other person we just looked at. Where is her picture of her peeking over the shoulder? Okay, here. So looking here, okay, I feel like they didn't get a good picture of her, like, moving around as much. So let's look at this show. Because I know she does it, but I'm not seeing it just yet. More like this. This still is not the picture I'm thinking of, but more like this. So this athlete is like leaned over, and it takes away from hourglass shape. Now she's leaned over, so there is no hourglass shape. But Yume, standing super tall, this is giving better shape on stage. So I'd like to see more of that with this athlete. And I know she did it, so I have to find it now. So maybe it was at this show. Sorry, do you guys like this part of my video? Okay, this is what I'm talking about. More of that angle, so it does taper into her waist and then come out again at her hips. So I'd like to see more of that. Okay, is that everyone? That is the question. Okay, so we have one more person. So here she is. Z. So let's get her in her front pose. Oh, there are a lot of pictures, so I should have planned for this. She's walking. We love a good walk. And now she's about to open up into her front pose. And I'm just narrating. Okay, she's still about to open up in her front pose. It would be fabulous to have all these pictures to choose from. Okay, so what do I think? Just needs more size. She's harder in the shoulders, looks a little bit soft in the low body. We don't get any of that like projection on the leg, and that's not something you get with every competitor. I think that's why it stands out when I do see it, but looks a little bit like flat and under muscled. So more muscle on the legs, more muscle everywhere, but like we need that conditioning to match. So it's pretty hard in these shoulders and then does not match on the bottom. It's just kind of smooth on the bottom. Part of that could be like lack of glaze. But yeah, and maybe there was another picture where she was posed better, but my thought still stands where I just think she needs more size. Okay, and then looking at her back pose, they didn't delete the page with a back pose. Well, okay, here she is about to turn into a back pose, and then here she is now turning around. They might have taken away a photo with a back pose. Sometimes shows do that. Okay, here's a back pose. Almost. But I have seen where they will delete pages with back poses. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay. The glutes are the same width as the legs. The adductors are standing out to me. And I don't think it's that they're like maybe they're a little, it looks like a combination of body fat and maybe they're too developed. So we just need more glute because we're seeing the V here for the ham tie, but we aren't really seeing the outside of that glute ham tie. And that's when you're like really conditioned, when you see like the outside of the glute ham tie. Shoulders look great, like upper body looks great in this pose, but it looks like she needed to lean out a little bit more so we could get the same kind of pop. Let's see what she looked like when she went pro. Was it in 2020? Oh, okay, she's been a pro for a while. So let's see if there was a time where she had better conditioning. Okay, it looks a little bit better, but it still looks like she comes in a little bit soft in her legs. Okay, I'm just struggling. I think that's the case. But she's gotten like thirds and stuff before, so her shape really, like her personal structure, I think has taken her pretty far. Yeah, better here with the ties, but still lower body. Glutes just need to come up. So, what do I think about this show? Who do I think is going to win? I think these are the top four. Okay, so I think Mengru will probably come in second again. Wenjin, I think, is gonna win. So Wenjin, then Mengru, and then and Lillian might not even make it that high, but her stage presence and shape is so good that I feel like she will. So I know she's like made 9th and 10th and hasn't made a 4 since 2023, but I kind of feel like she's going to be in this top 4. So yeah, and then I think it's going to be in this place. Where is a photo where she's like, you know, in that front pose again? I think it's going to go 1, 2, and then she needs more glutes and she needs more upper body. But I think they would go with probably who needs a little more glutes, because that seems like the main thing missing here. And the lower body on Lilling. I think I said Lillian earlier, I'm sorry. I think the imbalance might be a little bit too much to overcome. Maybe not. I don't know. I think she could. I'm going to say 3 because I think everything else outweighs it. That's my guess right now. But the lower body it looks significantly more developed than the upper. So, okay, let's say 4. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me know what you think. That one is tough for me. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for liking my videos. It makes my day. I'm so honored. And yeah, have a great day.